Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a magnetic excursion update Saturday, January 4th, around 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time 2025. The third X flare in 24 hours coming from active region 3947 as things are heating up on the sun. Now, none of these X-flares have brought any significant coronal mass ejections, so no space weather headed towards Earth. What's happening on Earth is a major winter storm to bring snow and ice from the Central Plains to the Mid-Atlantic. Over 80 counties in blizzard warning as we speak. Keep calm. It's boom time. The heaviest snowfall in over a decade is coming for millions of people across the country. A winter storm spanning over 2,100 miles will blast heavy snow, hazardous ice from the Central Plains to the Mid-Atlantic. On Sunday, the Central Plains and Lower Ohio Valley will experience a mix of heavy snow and ice. On Sunday night, the rest of the Ohio Valley, Mid-South, and Central Appalachians, and possibly the Mid-Atlantic, will be affected. 62 million people under threat of this storm, and that means power outages, accidents, and more. This is the major winter storm and where it will track through Monday. The winter storm is going to impact 30 states, up to a foot of snow possible in the Midwest, as blizzard warnings are up for 80 counties, as we said at the offset. Significant ice storm from the plains to the mid-Atlantic as well. Here are winter weather alerts that are up through Monday, which will be a fun day for many. This Sunday ice storm, the nightmare that could, will happen. Springfield, Paducah, Lexington could be seeing some of the heaviest icing. And after the storm passes, there will be blizzard conditions on the back end, and that means heavy snow. The snow forecast for Kansas City could be 18 to 24 in areas like St. Louis and Kansas City, breaking records that haven't been seen. Well, these snow totals in some of these regions haven't been seen for over a decade. It may even snow in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and South Jersey in a significant way. Here is the ice forecast from the plains to the mid-Atlantic through Monday, which is no fun day if you're in this region here, Springfield through Paducah. Over a half an inch of ice may accumulate. And then on the back end, a blizzard on top of it. And that means power outages forecast. Very widespread power outages from Louisville all the way to Wichita. So I hope you're all prepared because the storm is now developing. A major winter storm to bring snow and ice from the Central Plains to the Mid-Atlantic. This storm will produce widespread, significant impacts from the Central Plains across Ohio and the Tennessee valleys and into the Mid-Atlantic region this weekend into Monday. Areas between central Kansas and Indiana, especially along and north of Interstate 70, are likely to receive heavy snowfall. Icing is likely from eastern Kansas to the southern Appalachians, creating a nightmare. There are the blizzard warnings in over 80 counties in 3 states. Winter storm watches and warnings over a dozen states as this big storm makes its way to the Delmarva. And here you can see right now that ice and mix is happening now with snow on the back end in central Kansas there. That is going to continue through the night and move east as it builds. Take a look at this. By morning, we've got a blizzard situation in most of Kansas as the storm slowly makes its way east. Those blizzard conditions will move east with the storm as well as this major ice storm. The bad news is the severe weather that's going to emerge here Sunday and into Monday. Could be some tornado warnings and just a bad situation all around. And this is due to the major convergence here where an extreme cold pressure system is going to be interacting with some warm moisture here from the Gulf of Mexico. And baby, it's boom time. And sad news, right behind this, a secondary system will develop in Mexico and develop into a nor'easter blasting the East Coast in snow that they haven't seen. If this keeps up, in quite some time. This could be more record-breaking snow for the Northeast following this big storm, which is happening now. How do you like them apples? We'll take a quick look at the latest GFS run here of the snowfall totals. And that, once it hits blue, it's a foot or more. So we're talking 12 to 16 inches in a wide swath across 6, 7, 8 states, including North Carolina, West Virginia, and on and on. Many of these regions haven't seen snow like this in over a decade. And right behind that nor'easter is going to make its way up from Mexico through Texas, the nexus of the Schmexis there, bringing snow to more southern locales and potentially a record-breaking nor'easter here. Some of these totals coming in at 28 inches or higher for New England. Shut up, Al. Get in your hole. Al Gore's mumbling something down in his hole. No bunt cake for Al. Seismic update. The coronal hole, I believe, has coupled at this point. There has been no major seismic activity. That's good news. Low-level activity worldwide. The seismic crisis in Ethiopia continues today with a 5 magnitude earlier. I'm sure crumbling more homes. And an underwater volcano off Oregon will erupt this year, according to scientists. We're talking about the axial seamount, and it's going to blow. The only question is when. The good news is that this won't affect humanity in any way. It's just a volcanic curiosity. And that leads us to worldwide volcano news for the day. Marapi back on the list, 20,000-foot blast today. Nevado de Ruiz, 20,000-foot. Ibu to 7,000. Santaguito, 14,000-foot puff. Semeru, who knew? An eruption was reported. Ibu to 14,000 feet. Liwatobi to 8,000. Fuego to 15,000 feet. Santaguito to 14,000 feet. Raventador, 14,000 feet. And the eruption at Kilauea has stopped. That went on for quite some time. Semeru, who knew? 14,000-foot blast there. Swanasima to 6,000. Wrapping up the list, Ibu, the first for January 5th, a 7,000-foot puff. And that brings us to space weather. There you can see those 3 X flares over a 24-hour period, including a near X flare. So really 4, and more activity happening now. This activity, this happened over the western limb and is responsible now for a minor S1 radiation storm. Let's take a look at that. Here's goes 18 proton flux, and you can see we've reached that 10 megavolt warning. So there we go there. And here is the X1.8 solar flare, the most recent flare coming from active region 3947. No major CME from that, so that's good news. Space weather is still going to be elevated over the next 2 days due to that coronal hole stream and the CME that passed just the other day. Where is my telemetry? So 24 hours ago, we had that small CME passing and causing the telemetry to jump here, pushing us up into G1 geomagnetic storm. In recent hours, we've got plasma speed rising from 6 up to 700 kilometers per second here, and that is keeping us in geomagnetic storm. Looks like the last reading has calmed down, but we are still at KP5. That'll drop down to 4 and maybe reverberate if that plasma stream from those coronal holes continues. And that might also trigger some seismic activity. So keep a close eye on the channel for updates. And in just a moment, we'll be over at Magnetic Reversal News to talk about one of the most interesting scientific discoveries in the last month. The volcanic eruption mystery has been solved. Back in the Dalton Minimum, 4 major volcanic eruptions kept us miserable, starving, and dying through famine and calamity and the darkening of the skies. Lee and I will break it all down. We dive deep into the topic of what causes climate change in the long-term cycles. I think you'll be fascinated by what we discover. We'll also talk about the cosmological principle and its fallacy. Because of new discoveries and new breakthroughs in cosmology, we need an entirely new model. And that's a boom to knowledge. More knowledge coming in just a few minutes over at Magnetic Reversal News. So please join us and learn something. Hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Half of the people watching are unsubscribed. Please subscribe to the channel. It helps with the algorithm, and it helps our channel grow. We would appreciate it if you just hit that subscribe. And be safe. We love you. And that's a boon. We'll see you in a minute over at Magnetic Reversal News.